trailers, awesome announcements, and all that good stuff. And
occasionally, news about comics.
Occasionally news about comics. For some reason, it's a lot more about movies and TV shows than comic books lately.
Because movies and TV shows make, billions of dollars while the comic book industry is slowly dying.
I can't argue with that.
It is in the title, though, Comic-Con.
Yeah. So, while it's still going on, we're going to try and do some coverage that we thought was interesting in some of the panels that happened over at Comic-Con. This is, of course, like the first part. We're going to try and do a special on Sunday to be able to cover the rest of this event because there's definitely more panels that are going to be coming out that we're looking forward to. Marvel's panel is at 5 o'clock today, I believe?
5:15, I believe.
5:15, and I definitely hope that we hear some stuff about Phase 4. I'm genuinely excited to hear what's going to happen next. So without further ado, let us get into some of our little San Diego Comic-Con recap for the week. So, starting off with Halloween, Blumhouse's Halloween, that is. It's important to note that because it carries the same title as the first one, but it's also taking place in a certain timeline to where any movie after the first one didn't exist and everything. Well, it turns out that we're going to get 2 sequels for that movie, Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends, which will be released in 2020 and 2021 respectively.
Yeah, so if you're keeping track of the timeline for this one, it's Halloween, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends.
Yeah.
Not confusing at all, right?
Yeah. Not confusing at all. It's like these studios don't have problems titling their films nowadays, it seems.
And while it's not official, it does appear that Jamie Lee Curtis will be coming back for both sequels as Laurie Strode.
I would really hope so, because after the last Halloween movie, they really implied that they wanted to focus specifically on Laurie Strode and everything, because the last movie was supposed to be like the end to the whole rivalry, but of course, there's sequels. I mean, there's always going to be a sequel. Michael Myers is like Jason Voorhees. Every time you think he's dead, he's suddenly not dead, and you have to just accept that.
Yeah.
Next up, Eddie Furlong is to reprise the role of John Connor in Terminator Dark Fate.
Yes. Eddie Furlong was the child actor who played John Connor in Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Oh,
he was the first actor to play John Connor, except for one guy in T2 who played an adult version for a few seconds.
You just turned to the camera and that was it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, so it was Eddie Furlong, and then in the sequels, John Connor was played by Nick Stahl in Terminator 3, Christian Bale in Terminator 4, and Jason Clarke in Genesis.
Yeah.
But now we've come all the way back to Eddie Furlong, who will be reprising his role as John Connor. We don't know how extensive that role will be.
I was hopefully it would be significant.
Hopefully,
because John Connor is a big role in the Terminator franchise, at least as far as the lore goes.
Well, yeah. My question. Okay, so what can you do? Because they did Terminator Genesis, and that went off the rails.
Oh well, technically, according to this new one, that didn't exist.
Yep, they have said there's only one timeline. It goes from Terminator 1, Terminator 2, Terminator Dark Fate. Anything after 2, any other movie that happened after 2, never happened.
So Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines didn't happen.
Didn't happen.
Salvation didn't happen.
Yep.
Genesis didn't happen.
Because in Dark Fate, it's 2019, and and Skynet still hasn't taken over because Sarah Connor has been methodically keeping them from rising up over and over again.
So speaking of convoluted titles and series, here we go. We got Terminator going on with completely just trying to retcon the whole thing, huh?
It's just like with Blumhouse's Halloween, how it wants to just separate a bunch of movies that are off in the timeline. And it's not the first. I think it's funny that we're back talking about Halloween because that is really one that's had its timeline altered twice before, actually. They had the H2O Halloween, and then they had the Rob Zombie Halloween.
Yeah, I still think it's hilarious that it's supposed to be pronounced H20 because it was it was the 20th anniversary movie.
Yeah.
But because H2O is actually a thing, no one pronounces it correctly because it was a dumb title.
It really was, man. But Dark Fate, now that actually looks like a good movie.
It really does.
It really does. I'm really looking forward to it. You know.
I think, well, I'm a little bit more skeptical because I said that about Terminator Salvation when it first came out.
Yeah.
I was super hyped about Terminator
I
Salvation.
really wanted that to be a good movie. I even played the video game because I was that hyped over the movie.
Even Genesis looked kind of good in the trailers.
Yeah.
Yeah, little did we know that they gave us a good chunk of the plot right at the get-go.
Well, that is the grand tradition of Terminator trailers, going all the way back to T2, is giving away the biggest plot reveal in the trailers.
Yep, they know how to market it too, because they know that we always want to see what Terminators are like the new Terminators are going to do next. You know,
yeah.
They know how to do that. They knew that with T2, the whole polymorphic style that it does. Like everyone loved that. So
yeah,
Well, we'll do that from now on. It's like we're just going to market the new Terminators. Like that's what we're going to do.
Yeah,
that seemed to be what Salvation was just showing off a bunch of new Terminator models.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Man. Anyways, on to the next little bit of news. Brian, I'll let you cover this one because it's regarding Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is currently finishing up its 6th season, has been announced that it will end after its upcoming 7th one. Which, it's time. It feels like it was time a while ago, though I've been hearing good things about the 6th season, but honestly, the show's been limping along for quite a while now.
It was one of those shows that, like, if you were a hardcore Marvel fan, you would watch. But if you weren't, you'd miss a few episodes, and then you start to lose track of the plot. And then, I mean, I don't know. I'm still impressed that it had as many seasons as it did.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Now, honestly, it felt like the show just kept getting sort of... It just kept getting screwed over by Marvel itself because it was, originally it was supposed to be about S.H.I.E.L.D. And then the Winter Soldier happened halfway through its first season, so they had to pivot. So then they had to start setting up the Inhumans for the movie. But then the movie got canceled and turned into a TV show, so they had to pivot. Then the Inhumans TV show failed, so they had to pivot again to Magic. And eventually the showrunners just said, you know what? No, we're not part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe anymore. You have made this... you have just... done too much. We're doing our own thing. No Thanos. None of this.
Yeah, no. Man, but I am surprised that it went through. Because honestly, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. had that problem where like they had to be tied into the MCU without really being able to show that they were tied into the MCU. It was the whole thing of like, oh, cool, Iron Man just flew by. Oh, can I see? Just take my word for it.
Yeah, the only star from the movies they were ever able to get on was Samuel L. Jackson 2 times in the first season, and then nothing.
Man. But, I mean, hey, at least it's getting another season. That's always good.
And at least it's getting, it's getting noticed that it's getting canceled. They get to end the show on their own terms. They don't, finish up season 6 and then a day later said, oh, yeah, you're canceled. So they don't, end on a cliffhanger.
Right. Because it always sucks when a show finishes up on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Hate when that happens.
It's awful.
On to the next one. Brandon Routh is said to reprise his role as Superman in the CW's upcoming Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover special.
So Brandon Routh played Superman in Superman Returns, the 5th film in the Christopher Reeve Superman, where he replaced Christopher Reeves because it was 2007 and Christopher Reeve had passed away quite a while ago. Of course, that film made no money, so it didn't get a sequel. So after a while, Brandon Routh was cast to play the Atom, Ray Palmer, in the CW DC universe. First on Arrow, then Legends of Tomorrow. He's all over the place.
Yeah.
So now, in the crossover, he's going to be playing both the Atom and his take on Superman, as well as there being Tyler Hoechlin's Superman from Supergirl.
Yes.
Going to be amazing. Yes. I really want them to get Tom Welling from Smallville, because
that would be awesome. Oh
they made so many references to Smallville in the last crossover. They had the original set for the Smallville farm and played the theme song over it.
Oh my god!
They need to get Tom Welling to play
the theme song to Smallville is just gold. I'd just like to say that right now.
It really was.
It really was. But man, that is awesome that we're getting it.
And I liked. I'll probably be the first one to kind of defend this, but I actually like Superman Returns.
Superman Returns was a good movie. I liked that scene where he was carrying the island full of kryptonite into outer space. Even though
that was cool.
it kind of made little sense, but it was still fun to watch.
And
Yeah.
Lex Luthor in that one is a lot better than the one in Batman vs Superman. So.
Oh, definitely.
Well, yes, though
He was more like Lex
Lex
Luthor than...
yeah, though
than-
that Lex Luthor is probably not coming back because
No.
Kevin Spacey.
Well,
yeah.
he's a Lex Luthor of his own.
Yeah.
He's his own Lex Luthor. Oh my goodness.
He's his own.
So, that's...
Actually, we have two more bits.
Oh, right.
Sorry, there has been news breaking during the episode here, so we might have to cut in with more news from time to time.
We're trying to keep ourselves as updated as possible.
Yes, it has been announced that the Batman villain Hush will appear in the CW's Batwoman's first season.
Now, in case you're not familiar with Hush, he is an old childhood friend of Bruce Wayne's that decides to get revenge on him. And it was
Yes.
basically a whole identity crisis during the Hush storyline.
Yes, Tommy Elliott was Bruce Wayne's friend during childhood, except it turns out he was completely insane, so he tried to have his parents killed as a child so he could inherit their fortune, except Thomas Wayne, Bruce Wayne's father, saved his mother's life, for which Tommy Elliott then hated Bruce for. So when he became an adult, he had extensive plastic surgery to look exactly like Bruce Wayne, and found out Bruce Wayne was Batman. Eventually he was defeated, and now the Bat family occasionally uses him as a stand-in for Bruce Wayne when Batman has to do something.
I didn't know that part.
Yeah, or at least they used to, then the New 52 happened. I don't know if that's still a thing. But yeah, essentially they have him kept prisoner and use him as a stand-in for Bruce Wayne as a, oh look, Bruce Wayne and Batman are in the same room at the same time. They can't possibly be the same person, which I actually love. I love it to counteract that stupid argument of, oh, we never see Bruce Wayne and Batman at the same time. They must be the same person.
Yeah. I find it interesting that he's being introduced in Batwoman of all things, but it does kind of make sense since the trailers that we had seen from Batwoman are basically like constantly hinting at Bruce Wayne being there, but we don't actually see Bruce Wayne yet.
Yeah,
which is an annoying thing the CW wants to do so much. Always hint at Batman, but never actually give us Batman.
Well, the plot is that Bruce Wayne is Batman, but he's been missing for 3 years. So now Kate Kane is taking on the mantle of Batwoman to sort of try to replace him. And the creators of the show actually addressed the Batman question, saying they'd love to have him, but DC is being super protective of the character right now.
Maybe this is the Dark Knight Returns.
Maybe that could be interesting.
That would be very interesting.
Yes. Other news that came out was after the premiere of the DC animated version of Batman Hush, which, same character, they announced 3 new animated films. The first one coming out next year is an adaptation of Superman Red Sun, which the plot of that is instead of landing in Smallville, Kansas, Superman lands in Soviet Russia and is raised as sort of a tool of the USSR. And it gets a lot crazier from there. It's real weird, especially at the end. They also announced Justice League Dark Apocalypse War, which is part of their ongoing, sort of continuity of animated films. It's going to be an adaptation of the Darkseid War storyline from Justice League a few years ago.
Ooh.
And they also announced Superman Man of Tomorrow, which will be an original story.
Oh.
We don't know anything else about it, though. Could be interesting.
It would be interesting. It's always nice to have an original Superman story.
Of course, how original it will be with a character that's been around for 80 years, over 80 years now, it's going to be hard to say.
I don't know. I mean, I've been surprised before. They seem to do a lot of different takes on Superman somehow. But, I mean, I don't know.
Who knows? Could be fun.
Could be fun.
And that is it for the sudden in the middle of the show news for now.
Yeah, for now, that is the coverage that we have. We got some trailers that did get released during Comic-Con that we will still talk about in Trailer Talk. But for now,
my God, more news.
Oh, update, breaking news.
Burt Ward, who played Robin in the Adam West Batman series, will be in Crisis on Infinite Earths on the CW.
Oh, snap.
Pretty interesting.
Will be appearing. It doesn't say what role he'll be playing, if he'll be playing like his original Robin or what role he'll be playing, but he's going to be in it.
I hope he does appear as original Robin and starts beating up criminals with the onomatopoeia popping up, just pow, smack, punch.
As much as I'd like that, it'd be kind of sad to have his Robin there without Adam West Batman.
That's true, though.
Yeah.
I kind of hope that it's, hey, it's Burt Ward, but as a different role.
We should hear some iconic phrases of like "Holy smokes" or like
Oh, there's definitely going to
"Holy
have
mackerel."
that. No
Holy
matter
rusted
what.
metal Batman.
You don't cast Burt Ward and not have a ton of references.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So what's going on in the news so far?
Let's talk about Blizzard, Brian.
Oh, Blizzard. Blizzard CDO, Chief Development Officer, and co-founder Frank Pierce is leaving the company after 28 years. He is the second Blizzard co-founder to leave in the last year, following Mike Morhaime, who departed last October. And of course, both these departures followed reports that Activision was starting to exert even more control over Blizzard's day-to-day operations.
Man,
Yeah.
We hate you, Blizzard. Just kidding, Blizzard. We love you.
Blizzard is great. It's Activision that we're concerned about.
Yeah, we love
Activision.
Blizzard. We hate Activision.
Activision
Gosh, god dang Activision.
sinking its corporate fangs into Blizzard.
That was like the reminder that I needed to remember that things are going on with Activision, because I usually immediately start to think of EA when I think of Activision.
They're
Oh
like,
yeah, it's EA, it's Activision, it's Ubisoft, it's everyone. Everything in the game industry is terrible.
Gosh, it's our next segment in the games industry is horrible.
Yep.
My goodness. So, what do you think this means now that he's stepped down as well?
I think it's going to mean that Activision is going to get even more control over Blizzard. They're probably going to install their own chief development officer that will be more focused on, microtransactions and loot boxes and this and that.
basically, the Templars are taking over.
Pretty
Yeah.
much.
The Templars are taking over.
Yeah, it's pretty much, all the old guard that, was behind the, Blizzard as a creative first, business second. They're leaving, and Activision will probably start installing their own people.
Ah, that's sad.
Yeah.
Well, anyways.
Onto lighter news.
Not necessarily lighter
No,
news.
not really lighter news.
Not really lighter news. So,
Yes, the joke.
the controversial scene from Netflix's 13 Reasons Why, where Hannah Baker takes her life, has finally been edited out of the first season after,
2 years?
2 years since the first season had been released.
Yep.
This is following up, according to Netflix, because the third season is supposed to be coming out sometime soon. I believe they said after this summer.
Yep.
And after enough advice from medical professionals, including the chief medical officer of the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, they finally decided that it was probably a good idea to get rid of this scene, which caused every episode in season 2 to start with a trigger warning.
Yeah, and you know what? This does absolutely nothing. Because the depiction of suicide wasn't the main issue here. It was an issue, but it wasn't the main issue. The main issue was the fact that the writers and the entire plot of the first season was around a suicide being used by this girl as a revenge tactic.
I think that, and I totally agree with you on that, is that this was an insult to the mental health profession. I think that this series, 13 Reasons Why, has done a lot to actually damper mental health. I think it's actually when they were trying to help, but it failed so miserably with the message. It's more of like, this is a heavy topic in that this is someone's taking their life, and this happens a lot. In almost every day, there's a suicide happening. I don't know the statistics, obviously, but there's more than one, obviously, and it's a huge epidemic in American society. And the fact that they treat it as some kind of like this like you said, like a glorified, like it's glorified, is it's just really bad. I think that this did a lot in this one scene. It's not, like you said, it's not just the one scene, it's the overarching story of this that's really bad.
Yeah, I'm going to speak from experience here. No one tries to take their own life for revenge.
No.
Because that is the furthest thing from...
It's an escape, right?
Yeah, that we don't do it to try to take revenge, to try to get attention. We do it because we can't keep going.
And all that scene really did, and all the show really did, was motivate more people to end up taking their lives. I'm looking it up right here, and apparently according to a study by the Nationwide Children's Hospital, the rate of suicide among U.S. boys ages 10 to 17 went up 28.9% in the month after that show's premiere. So it did not help at all,
Like
which kind of sickens me to think that a third season is actually happening.
Yeah, because it didn't depict suicide as an issue; it depicted it as a tool.
I mean, this is literally like they took suicide and put it into a teen drama.
Yeah.
You know, like a high school teen drama with suicide. Like how much more gross can you get?
Exactly.
You know,
they're trying to make it into a Degrassi, which isn't fair.
You know, it's just. Ugh. So I'm glad that there's one part of it that's good.
At least it got removed. That's all people can say. At least
they should just get rid of the whole show.
They really should.
Yeah. They should.
They should.
Yeah, they should just be like, nope, that's done.
But like, let's change the topic to a lighter note.
Yeah, I can.
Let's talk about Thor. Taika Waititi is working on another Thor movie.
Mm-hmm.
Not much information is known. All we know is that there is going to be a fourth installment in the franchise.
I'm totally down with that because he did what we do in the dark and Thor Ragnarok. Totally down with that.
Yep.
Heck yeah. You know.
Waititi is returning to direct and write. Hemsworth has already confirmed he will be returning to star after his break from Hollywood, which he's taking this year. Which
really,
which is fair.
I
didn't know he was taking a break.
Yeah,
yeah, he's taking a year-long break after Endgame. He just needs some. Because he had Endgame, then he had the Men in Black International, and I think after a few years just constantly having movies, he just
needs some time off,
which is fair.
It does make sense.
Yes.
Now I wonder if this movie will get released before or after Guardians 3.
I think given the timing, it'll probably be after Guardians 3.
Yeah.
We don't know if after the end of Endgame, Thor will be appearing in Guardians 3. Yeah. We do know that apparently the reason Waititi agreed to do this was because of production delays with his adaptation of Akira, which has now been indefinitely postponed until after Thor 4.
Oh, interesting.
Waititi's behind that?
Yeah, he is the current director of the Akira adaptation, which I'm kind of glad is being delayed because I don't think it's a good idea to try to adapt this into live action because Hollywood has a terrible track record of this.
I said this about Cowboy Bebop, but it's happening anyways.
Yeah, I don't feel good about Cowboy Bebop. I remember Ghost in the Shell, which...
Ghost in the Shell was great.
And I remember...
But not the movie, not the live action.
Okay, I was
live action.
I was about to come at you with this pen.
I remember the live action version of Mob Psycho 100, and that was
that was not Hollywood. That was a Japanese production. Same with the Attack on Titan films. Though apparently now there's an American version of Attack on Titan in development, which...
There's always an American version. There's always an American version.
Let's not forget the live-action Dragon Ball movie that came out back in the day.
Oh, God, I had. Oh, God, it's coming back now.
Vietnam flashback.
Vietnam flashbacks, PTSD.
Anyway, Taika Waititi making Thor 4.
Should we? I think it's safe to say we should also mention that he had a cameo in the latest sneak peek we got for Rick and Morty.
Yes, they released a clip from the upcoming 4th season where he. Oh God, what's the character?
He was Gluty.
Gluty. That's
a purple.
An alien app developer.
Yeah, who had the menacing flashing app.
The revolution has begun.
Now, the clip itself was it was funny, but again, it was one of those scenes where it was we don't know the context, so it'd probably be a lot funnier if we knew what was going down.
Yeah, best I could tell, it seems like Jerry hired Gluty to make an app for him for some reason, and because it's Jerry, of course, this went terribly wrong.
Of course.
Jerry.
God.
And Morty's trying to keep him from getting screwed over somehow.
Morty seems even more aggressive than he... I mean, there's been a steady stream of Morty getting more and more aggressive.
The turning point, I think, was during the Purge, when he actually, purged out. After that, he got way more violent, in my opinion.
Yeah, being exposed to Rick has obviously changed him.
Now, I do find it interesting that Funko Pop already has Gluty Funko Pops for sale.
They came to Comic-Con with Gluty Funko Pops already in tow.
Before it even came out.
Whatever you feel about the style of Funko Pops, you gotta admit, they work fast.
They really do.
I mean, obviously they had these produced and knew about it before Comic-Con, but still.
I swear, they have to have some kind of insider knowledge to know what's coming out.
Oh, absolutely. Because these Funko Pops always sell really well. So companies go to them saying, hey, here's a character we're going to have. Please make a Funko Pop of it so we make all of the money.
Yeah, and it's not that difficult to make them either. They all have the same model.
Mm-hmm.
But something tells me that something with Batman's coming out.
Oh, man, Batman Beyond. It's getting an HD remaster, finally.
Yes.
All 52 episodes and the movie will be released on a Blu-ray set this October. Now, unfortunately, only 41 of the episodes could be fully remastered. The other 11's film had been damaged and instead had to be put through a process known as Smart Res.
Yep, because it was back in the 90s and they were on videotape with actual film, so they got damaged, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
Also, they didn't specifically say if the movie was being remastered, and I kind of remember the movie already being remastered a few years ago.
I think so. I'm not sure.
Yes,
but
and the box set will, have all the episodes, the movie, a few art things, and of course, an exclusive Funko Pop.
Of course, I would have been more content with a Batarang.
Yeah, well, I think they were probably nervous about, selling a weapon or a potential weapon.
Well, what if it was a Funko Pop of a Batarang? They'll probably make one of those.
No, we're excited for this because Batman Beyond was just fantastic.
That was a great. It was a really great
show. And after Batman the Animated Series got its remaster, I was thinking it's only a matter of time until Batman Beyond gets the same treatment, and I'm glad that it finally is.
Yes. Unfortunately, it will also not contain the epilogue episode from Justice League Unlimited, which served as a final episode to the series.
Gosh.
5 or 6 years after the fact.
Mm-hmm. Now, after Batman Beyond, do you think they'll do Justice League or Justice League Unlimited?
I'm hoping, because they did Batman the Animated Series as a remaster, and now they're doing Batman Beyond. I'm hoping that if this sells well, we can get a Justice League and then a Justice League Unlimited.
That would be really cool. Justice League was a really good show, too.
It was fantastic.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Oh, man. So, that's about it for our weekly wrap-up. Let's jump into trailer talk.
Oh, yes. They have 2 trailers that I won't spoil for anyone yet, but
let's start with Cats.
Done.
You
lost me.
The first trailer for 2019's cinematic adaptation of the play Cats.
If you haven't already seen the memes yet, which are already out and about.
Oh God, it does already have memes, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Its U.S. release date is December 20th, 2019, and is starring Idris Elba, Rebel Wilson, Judi Dench, and many others.
Dame Judi Dench.
Judi Dench. What?
Dame Judi Dench. She has a title.
Dame Judi Dench.
She is a dame, and you will respect
Where
that.
did that come from?
I believe the Queen.
Holy. They call that? Is that what they did? Wait,
is
that what they call the? Is that like the female of the Sir? Like when you get knighted, you get Sir.
I believe so. Let me look that up. You guys talk about the trailer. I'm gonna look that up.
Okay, and there's many others in here as well. Now,
it's about live action. It's like live action cats.
The synopsis is a tribe of cats called the Jellicles must decide yearly which one will ascend to heaven to Heaviside Lair and come back to a new Jellicle life. And it's directed by Tom Hooper. Now, can I just say the visual effects are
off-putting?
Cutting edge.
Is that what you're going to call it?
Cutting edge, so much so that it reaches the uncanny valley.
Yeah, because all the people in this are, of course, cats. So instead of going the Broadway route of just sort of dressing them up in furry costumes with makeup on.
Did you say furries?
They have. We'll get to that. They have elected instead to completely digitize all the fur on every character. It's. Yeah.
It's off-putting. Very off-putting.
Yes. So
because it looks so real. The fur just looks so real. Is this like the Sonic the Hedgehog trailer?
Please don't.
People have been comparing it to that, and some people are trying to get a similar movement going to get them to change it. Which, you know what? No,
just let them do this.
This looks off-putting and weird, but so is Cats the musical. Cats the musical is
you know what? You got a good point.
That is a very good point.
Terrifying.
Very awkward.
That is a good point.
And it's from the guy that brought us Les Miserables.
Yeah, it's from the Cats is by Andrew Lloyd Webber, who did Les Mis, Phantom of the Opera, Jesus Christ Superstar.
Great.
Gosh, so you kind of wonder if this is gonna be one of those movies where like all the dialogue will be in song, which would be interesting if that were the case.
There were some normal speaking moments between the cats, normal speaking moments.
Yeah,
I think no one wants to try and do Les Mis as a film ever again. So,
gosh,
man, I still remember Russell Crowe singing. It was
That was pretty
Yeah,
bad.
that's directed by the same guy that's directing this. This guy also directed The King's Speech. He went from The King's Speech to Russell Crowe and Les Mis to this.
It's a downhill
What
slope
happened to you, Tom Hooper?
It's a downhill slope in Hollywood. You fail upwards.
Now, one thing that I can say about Cats is at least they have an interesting enough cast behind this project. They seem to have some pretty big names on board.
Yeah, they've got so many. They got Idris Elba, Dame Judi Dench, Rulo, Jennifer Hudson,
So many people.
James Corden.
Yeah, a lot of people. And, I mean, the singing doesn't seem that bad from what I've seen. It's definitely a musical.
Yeah, they seem to have learned from casting Russell Crowe and Les Mis, which, no, I am never going to let go of. And they actually cast singers in the singing role. They also cast a significant amount of, like, traditional ballerina or ballet dancers in the roles for, you know, the
backup dancers.
Yeah, and one of the key roles, Victoria the White Cat. I don't remember the actress's name, but this is her film debut. But she was in the British Royal version of the Nutcracker. She was one of the head ballerinas.
Interesting.
So she's obviously really, really good.
Yeah, the Royal Theatre. Sorry, that's.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, how many furries do you think will go to see Cats?
This is going to be 50% of their budget.
It's going to be
50% of their profits are going to be furs.
I'm not watching it the day it comes out. I'm watching it like either when it comes out on Netflix.
So you are going to watch it?
I'll watch it just to see what's going on, but I'm not interested.
Gosh.
It's going to be one of those things, like, I won't watch it in the theater. It's the only movie I won't watch in a theater, because that's, like Brian has said many times before the show, there's a possible high probability of furries going, and no one wants that.
You said you're going to see it, aren't you, Brian?
Yes, and I'm taking special precautions that I don't know if I'm allowed to say on air.
Yeah. So...
Nothing illegal. Nothing illegal. It is very specifically legal now in the state of California.
No. So, please, can we not talk about Cats anymore?
Okay, let's talk about his Dark Materials. What the Golden Compass was based off of, if you recall that movie.
Most people don't.
For
good reason.
For good reason.
I think I watched it when I was 9.
The movie with Nicole Kidman in it. Had the polar.
I remember it.
I remember the trailers, but that was it.
I remember polar bears.
Polar bears with golden armor. That's what I remember.
That's all I remember.
Its U.S. release date is 2019, and it is starring James McAvoy, Daphne Keane, and Lin-Manuel Miranda. And the synopsis is that 2 children embark on a magical adventure through parallel universes.
That's it.
So this is a remake of the adaptation of his Dark Materials that does not edit out the dark material, the dark base material for the story, or any of the religious overtones, because the religious overtones were central to the plot. They cut them out to make it more kid-friendly, but now they're back. And now we get Lin-Manuel Miranda hanging out with an armored polar bear.
I'm down for that, actually. Let's do that.
That actually does sound very interesting. Like, I would so be down for that. Gosh. But, I mean, from what I've seen, the action looks okay. The fantasy world looks pretty good. Its visual effects seem interesting enough, at least, you know?
Yeah, and it seems appropriately dark. It was downright terrifying at times.
It's a good thing that it's an HBO, that's with HBO and everything, you know, that gives it even more opportunity to be dark, because HBO loves anything dark.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, definitely looks good. We definitely recommend checking it out when you see the trailer. Now, let's talk about Jay and Silent Bob.
I forgot to watch this trailer beforehand, so I'm going to have to turn it over to you, too.
Oh, man. Okay, so this is the trailer for Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. Its U.S. release date is 2019 and is starring Jason Mose, Kevin Smith, and many, many others. Now, the synopsis is that the stoner icons who first hit the screen 25 years ago in Clerks are back.
Wow.
When Jay and Silent Bob discover that Hollywood is rebooting an old movie based on them, the clueless duo embark on another cross-country mission to stop it all over again. Coming soon.
What can you say? It's just Jay and Silent Bob. Like, there's just, like, there it is. Like,
what do you think the odds are that Kevin Smith and Jason Mose will show up to the premiere in character trying to stop it? What do you think the odds are they'll go that meta?
I wonder if they will beat up the people trying to attend the movie, because I could have sworn like the end of Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back was that they had the money and they were just going to beat up everybody involved in that movie.
I mean, this isn't new to Kevin Smith. Didn't he protest his own movie Dogma when it came out?
He went. It was in a premiere in some town, and there was like 12 people protesting this when he thought like 1,000 people were going to be there protesting. It's like 12 people all over the age of 80, and he's standing there. And he's protesting, and there's even an interview. You can find it on YouTube. There's even an interview with Kevin Smith, and they're like, "You look familiar." Like the guys who were interviewing, him, like, "You look familiar, don't you know?" He's like,
I don't know.
I don't know.
I never heard of this movie. Who is this Kevin Smith that you speak of?
Like, I just wanted to protest because it goes on, and he goes on telling why protesting, and like, "Aren't you Kevin Smith? You look like Kevin Smith." He's like, "No."
Nope. I love how that was enough to fool the reporter. Just like, fair enough.
I'm like, okay.
He said no.
And it's like, all right. Yeah.
Oh man, but the movie looks hilarious.
It's Kevin Smith, so like, it's basically like, if a comic book geek nerd, super nerd got his movie, like he was able to make his movie. This movie.
This would be that movie,
This
yes.
would be that movie, It's like if a stoner uber nerd got his movie,
yep,
he made it. Like this
gosh.
is it. Yeah. And it's absolutely 100%. I love the first Jay and Silent Bob. I love Clerks. I love Clerks 2. And I love
oh my god.
Dogma. I loved all of Kevin Smith's work. I love his low brow and I love his highbrow humor. You can go either way. I love it.
I definitely suggest people check out the last Jay and Silent Bob movie, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. I also suggest just checking out Clerks to see their introduction into those movies and everything. But it looks good. Definitely would recommend it. Now, let's talk about The Witcher.
The Witcher.
U.S. release date is late 2019, starring Henry Cavill, Freya Allen, Anya Chalotra, and many others. Synopsis is that Geralt of Rivia, a solitary monster hunter, struggles to find his place in a world where people often prove more wicked than beasts. But when destiny hurtles him toward a powerful sorceress and a young princess with a dangerous secret, the three must learn to navigate the increasingly volatile continent together.
Okay, very important to know when you're going into this. This is not based off the video games. This is specifically based off of the books, which the video games were a sequel to.
Oh, yeah.
So none of the stuff that happened in the video games has happened yet in this world or may never happen depending on how the adaptation goes.
And in the video games, Geralt of Rivia, there's some things that happen to Geralt of Rivia at the end of the books, because I don't want to spoil it. And when you play the video games, you're like, that wouldn't happen. So you're like,
Yeah. And I mean, I love the video games.
Well,
Witcher 3 is still one of the best games of all time.
The best of all time.
Yeah.
Now, I wonder how the author of these books...
Andrzej Sapkowski.
The guy who argued with CD Projekt Red because he made...
He's on board writing.
Is he?
Yeah. He's
Really?
on board writing.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, that's a good sign that he probably won't sue Netflix.
Yeah, now let's just hope he doesn't have a meltdown over too many people thinking it's connected to the video games, because he deals with that so much.
Let's face it, even though this series is based off the books, it's getting made because of the popularity of the video games. That's
really
just an unavoidable truth.
Like, it's funny, like, I saw in the trailer, they say, like, the best-selling novels. I'm like, are they? Or is it the video games that were?
It was the video games.
Yeah.
They had to mention the novels to appease Mr. Sapkowski because he's too angry about going to conventions, and people are asking him about the video games.
Oh, did you see that in the video game? No.
They've even confirmed there will be a reference to the bathtub scene from the beginning of Witcher 3 in the show at one point. Yeah.
Didn't they recently show what his horse would look like in one of the posters?
They revealed Roach, who is a brown horse with white markings, which is really. I really hope they put Roach on a roof at some point. That needs to happen.
Yeah, like I remember playing Witcher 2, and they had Roach was actually a character and not his horse.
Yeah, because Roach was a series of horses he owned. He each named them the same thing, which weren't they named after the character Roach? Or?
Yeah, that's what happened.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks good. I don't know. I'm not too familiar with the Witcher franchise, so for me, it just looks like a really good fantasy series to watch. You know?
I just hope no one misconstrues this and thinks that this is like this is gonna be. I hope it's not. When I hope it's not actually like this, where it's a Game of Thrones style, and because I hate. I don't hate it, but I just like Game of Thrones. But you know, I don't like this whole feuding bloodline stuff. I don't like this whole royalty fighting royalty. This stuff never really appeased to me. I like the reason I like The Witcher so much. He's an outsider. You know, he's just kind of there for the money, and he just kind of does whatever he like. If he finds it suitable, he'll do it. You know? It
does look like there will be an element of politics to it because they have
the Nilfgaardian.
Nilfgaard invading at one point and attacking a royal house. It is obviously trying to sort of fill the void left by Game of Thrones and the you know fantasy, you know medieval action genre with a high budget.
I usually never partake. I've never been that interested, but The Witcher is just an interesting idea. It's a very interesting concept.
Oh yeah. So let's talk about Watchmen.
Yep, HBO's Watchmen to be specific, because there were like 3 different properties with that name now, all based off the same one.
Why don't you take this one, Brian?
Okay, so its U.S. release date is 2019. A lot of these don't have release dates except for sometime in 2019, I'm noticing. It's starring Regina King, Don Johnson, Tim Blake Nelson, Jeremy Irons, many others. And the synopsis is, Watchmen takes place in an alternative contemporary reality in the United States in which mass vigilantes become outlawed due to their violent methods. Despite this, some gather around in order to start a revolution, while others are going out to stop it before it's too late, as a great wide question levitates above them all. Who watches The Watchmen? Is it just me, or is that just a synopsis of the plot of the original graphic novel?
Gosh,
Who watches The Watchmen?
Who watches The Watchmen?
Yeah, but just this entire, superheroes outlawed, all this and that. Okay, so the plot of the HBO series takes place after the... We don't know which it takes place after, the graphic novel or the TV show, possibly both, because they keep referring to it as a sequel remix, so it may be combining elements of both to make this. And it appears the plot is that after a series of attacks by a Rorschach-inspired paramilitary group on a bunch of police officers in Tulsa, police around the United States begin wearing masks themselves to, at first, protect their identity. And now it's sort of become this entire question of how do you have police accountability when no one knows who the police are? What's the difference between a masked cop and a masked vigilante?
So they kind of flipped the script on this, haven't they?
Yeah, because one of the central plot elements of the original Watchmen is the reason the Watchmen broke up was because the police went on strike because they didn't like masked vigilantes, doing their job for them.
Now they are the masked vigilantes.
Yes.
Man.
And the biggest reveal of this trailer is the return of Dr. Manhattan.
Yes. Yeah.
I love how when they mentioned that he's going to return, they started playing the song "Is Their Life on Mars," which just blended in perfectly with that trailer.
Yeah, at first it just showed Dr. Manhattan very far away, like through a telescope on Mars, destroying something he built. And at the very end of the trailer, we see someone walking down an abandoned street by a Dr. Manhattan mask, reach down, and you see a blue hand pick it up.
Yeah, and it's slowly going up, but like halfway up the body, it just cuts.
And he's fully clothed.
Yes, he's wearing clothes,
which is interesting, very interesting. But all in all, this looks really good. I had my doubts when hearing the news about it at the beginning.
All of you doubted my optimism.
I'm still not completely sold on it. I will admit this trailer makes a better impression, but I am not 100% sold. What I do find interesting is I was looking through the character list, and apparently they're introducing Mime and Marionette, who are not a part of the original Watchmen, but are in fact a part of the Doomsday Clock DC crossover currently going on. Which I thought was interesting, that they're taking elements from that and incorporating it, which gives more credence to this remix feeling.
Definitely. Now, do y'all think this looks better than Zack Snyder's interpretation of Watchmen?
1,000 times better.
I don't know, because I will admit Zack Snyder's had some serious problems, but it was very faithful to the graphic novel, and it looked stunning. It looked great.
That's true. That's
if anything, Zack Snyder always looks great, even if the story is abysmal.
I like this, but I like the style of this a little bit better, just a little bit.
It's a bit more grounded. It feels. You could see people making these costumes in their own homes, as opposed to Rorschach's mask, which was like this weird heat-activated
thing that he just turned into a mask.
Yeah, it was never really explained that well.
Well, it did. They did explain it.
Yeah, they did, but it was very based on, oh, look, random sort of advanced fabric that he can turn into a mask to facilitate him being Rorschach. It was very much working backwards.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that looks good. You guys should definitely give that trailer a watch when you get a chance. Now, let's talk about Top Gun Maverick. Parker, would you like to take this one away?
100%. Absolutely. Let's do this.
Give us the info on Top Gun Maverick as well as your opinion.
Oh, man. Okay, so Top Gun Maverick. U.S. release date is June 26, 2020, so about a year away from now.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be hard for me to wait that long. Starring Tom Cruise as Maverick, Jennifer Connelly, and Val Kilmer reprising his role as Iceman. So that's going to be good. So that's going to be good. The synopsis is, Top Gun Maverick takes place 34 years after the events of the original film and pits legendary Captain Pete Maverick Mitchell as a new flight instructor of Top Gun, in which he guides Bradley, Goose's son, by the way, so that's going to be, yes, comes around full circle, who seeks to become an aviator, much as his father was. And it's directed by Joseph Kosinski. There we go, Joseph Kosinski.
Thoughts on this, Parker?
100%, well, I don't want to overhype it, but it looks really, really good.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so there's like a million ways they could have gone with this. They could have gone with like, because all right, let's face, I love the original Top Gun. It's like one of my favorite '80s movies that's like ever out there. It's just so just so serious, but it's just like it's a little over the top at times.
It's so Top Gun.
Yeah, and like, I mean, come on, Top Gun, like Tom Cruise, like that's like the iconic Tom Cruise look.
Yeah.
But you know, it had a lot of like good scenes and the special effects just weren't there. But like when you see this trailer and you see the first kind of shot of this is when he's just in the desert and he's going like Mach 2 down the strip of the desert, like seriously like 50 feet above the ground.
Yeah.
Like, how cool is that? You know, like it just looks so good.
Yeah, that was one thing that I loved about Top Gun was the shots of the planes flying, and man, these ones are perfect.
When he takes off, you know, it's just like he takes off and it just looks good.
It really does.
He looks like he's going Mach 5, you know, like you love it, you know.
Gosh.
It's like it's got like all the cool stunts coming in, you know, real planes I think is what they're going to use again, which is not an easy feat to do. For camera work.
Gosh.
And but yeah, I mean, and the idea, I love a good story. I love the fact that Goose's son's going to be in it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Man.
I waited so long for this movie.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad it's finally coming out because it almost came out earlier and then it got delayed.
And also, just one more thing is that, you know, my mom, hello, Mom, she watches this. So my mom doesn't like the first Top Gun.
Oh, okay.
So but I asked her literally this morning, I was like, oh, did you see the new Top Gun? She's like, oh, yeah. She's like, oh, she got so excited for it.
Did a macho man, huh?
She's like, oh, yeah. And I was like, all right. I was like, a little shocked. I was like, okay.
Right on.
I was like, all right, let's go. So, yeah, I mean, let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah, nice. Now, let's talk about Doom Annihilation. Another live-action Doom movie.
You're doing it right.
Because that's what we needed. We needed this.
We all needed to see. Because, I mean, think about the story of Doom.
Yes. Think about the story of Doom. It's something that should be in a full-length feature film.
Okay.
90 minutes.
I'm taking this one because I have words.
I'll let you you cover it. Go right ahead.
So the U.S. release date is October 1st, 2019, straight to DVD. That is important to know. It is not going to theaters. It is going straight to DVD. Starring Amy Manson, Dominic Maham, and Luke Allen Gale. A group of Space Marines respond to a distress call from a base on a Martian moon, only to discover it's been overrun by demonic creatures who threaten to create hell on Earth. Directed by Tony Giglio.
So what's worse is going straight to Netflix or going straight to DVD?
Straight to DVD, because at least Netflix has some quality, some bar of quality.
I think the lowest level would be going straight to Lifetime.
Straight to Lifetime.
Honestly, this looks like it has the production value to go straight to Lifetime. This thing looks awful.
So
it looks
bad.
like a fan film. And if it was a fan film, I'd be saying, you know what?
They tried.
Okay, they tried. Yeah. It doesn't look great, but I'll give it a watch because at least they put effort into it. But with a studio behind this, with a Universal behind this.
Oh my God, this looks...
I've seen some really good fan films. For example, I saw Predator Crusade.
Yeah.
And that was really good. I forget the other one they had, but which was Predator taking place in samurai times.
Interesting.
In ancient Japan. So like that was cool. They did a lot of good stuff with that, with the visual effects they could do. Shot well. I think that's a good thing. Like if you can't get the budget, at least shoot it well.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
At least shoot it well.
But the problem with Doom Annihilation is that it had Sci-Fi Channel special effects.
Yeah.
Where like the laser blasts and the explosions, they clearly look fake. You can tell that it's not really happening. You can tell that the creatures aren't really there.
Yeah, we never see a full look at a demon. We see, a shadow jumping out here and there. And then at one point it looks like a human is being possessed. But we never see a demon.
Do you think it's going to be worse than the
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson one?
Yeah.
At least that had a budget. At least that looked like someone.
Had some good special effects.
Now, credit to Doom Annihilation compared to the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson one. At least the person holding the camera understands that it doesn't look good to have every single shot be really close to somebody's face.
Or it's completely dark.
Because that was a problem with the last Doom. The camera was always super zoom in, and every shot was a random moving shot somewhere.
And I like Carl Urban. Alright,
Yeah.
I love Carl Urban in Dread. Okay, that was good. I love Carl Urban in the new Star Trek movies with Bones McCoy.
Yeah.
I don't like him in that one though.
No.
It should also be noted that Bethesda, and by extension id Software, which is owned by Bethesda, has had no involvement in this film. They have said on the record they have had no involvement, but because of the complicated rights of Doom for film, it was Universal or Warner Brothers, one of the two was able to make this film without any, input from the IP holders.
Like, why can't we just get a movie for Doom Guy?
It's because honestly, Michael Bay might thrive in making that movie because
oh my God!
Because one of the great things about
more explosions.
Yeah, Doom 2016 was that it really didn't focus on story because Doom is all about the gameplay, and that doesn't translate well to film. Look at Assassin's Creed. The story is absolute nonsense, but we play it because the gameplay is fun.
I'm talking about Assassin's Creed right now. I'm on a binge of playing all 11 Assassin's Creed. I started the other day. I started the first Assassin's Creed. I'm on Assassin's Creed 2 right now. I'm going through Brotherhood, Revelations, Rogue, Assassin's Creed 3, Assassin's Creed Black Flag. No, it's actually better now.
Okay.
Yeah,
and it's not till Unity that you get to the no face.
No.
When does he have to deal with Uplay?
That started all of them. That's all of them are on Uplay now.
Oh,
There's
man.
no escaping it.
Yeah, like I was playing. Yeah, like I got the remastered version of the Ezio collection, and like it's all Uplay now. I'm like,
yep. There's no escaping Uplay anymore.
So anyways, Brian, why don't you handle the
Ubisoft.
trailer for The King's Man? I'm afraid I wasn't able to catch that trailer.
Okay, The King's Man. The U.S. release date is February 14th, 2020, Valentine's Day.
Of course.
It's starring Ralph Fiennes, I can never pronounce his name, Gemma Arterton, and Rhys Ifans, as well as many others. I mispronounced every one of those names. I think
it's Ralph Fiennes.
Ralph Fiennes.
Ralph Fiennes.
Ralph
Fiennes. That's French.
Ralph Fiennes.
Fiennes.
He says it Fiennes.
Synopsis.
Charles Styles.
As
a collection of history's worst tyrants and criminal masterminds gather to plot a war to wipe out millions, one man and his protege must race against time to stop them. Directed by Matthew Vaughn. Now, this is a prequel to the Kingsman film series. It was originally called Kingsman: The Great Game because that was what World War I was often referred to as the Great Game.
Yeah.
Which is sort of horrifying.
It really is.
But now it is The King's Man. And at one point, I swear, it looks like they're fighting Rasputin. I think they're going to fight Rasputin. Rasputin is not in the credits yet, but it's Rasputin, right?
I would want to see that, and yes.
Yeah.
Gosh, that sounds amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I think I watched the first Kingsman. Yeah, I watched the first Kingsman.
I haven't gotten to watch the Kingsman franchise yet.
okay, it's funny. Like the
well,
first
now
one's
you see,
funny.
from what I've gathered, the tone changed a bit from Kingsman 1 to Kingsman 2. While the first one was more of a parody on spy films while also being its own spy film, the second one was more of a serious spy film.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't watch the second one. I watched the first one, and I was like,
I'm interested that they're expanding the Kingsman universe, which is something that we were promised at one point in time.
Yep, they're also working on a third sequel. It should also be noted that this is kind of fun history-wise, that they cast one man, Tom Hollander, as King George V, Kaiser Wilhelm II, and Tsar Nicholas II, as they were all actually cousins in real life and were noted to have an uncanny resemblance to each other because they all shared the same grandmother, Queen Victoria.
So, wait, you said Tom Hollander?
Tom Hollander, not Tom Holland, not Spider-Man.
Not Spider-Man. Good. Okay. I was making sure I got that right.
No, we do not have Tom Holland playing Kaiser Wilhelm because I'm thinking about that
I want that.
yeah, now I'm thinking about it and I want it too.
Oh my goodness. So that was it for trailer talk, ladies and gentlemen. All these trailers are available on YouTube. If you've seen any of them and you would like to share your opinion with us, please let us know. We would love to hear back from you. So let's get into our discussion pieces. Today we have 3 to go over.
Yep.
Now let's start out with our favorite game to talk about aside from Fortnite, Fallout 76.
Fallout 76, Charles Styles.
Charles Styles. Now, there was a new update this week that came with 76.
It did not go well.
It did not go well. So,
You're doing good.
where should we start?
Well, let's start with bosses. Bosses are now reported to not be dropping loot they're supposed to, which especially for things like the Scorch Queen, which you only get by nuking an area of the map and is supposed to be, the big endgame multiplayer boss.
Still
Not
don't get
great.
nothing.
Yep. There are also random death zones around the map where you walk into them and you instantly die for no reason. Don't know what that's about.
Now, my favorite things is regarding the armor.
Oh, yes. Please.
So, now power armor will suddenly be relocated to a player's stash. This has led to their power armor basically just going missing. It's just vanished.
So apparently Bethesda did some extensive reworking on the balance of power armor, and as a part of this, decided to move it from everyone's inventory back to their stashes so they'd have to go pick it up. But of course, since this is Fallout 76, some people's armor has just gone missing, which is especially rough if you've got super rare, fully upgraded end game armor and suddenly it's just gone.
Now, this doesn't just affect power armor, this also affects regular armor as well, as normal armor now has this weird duplication bug, which is causing players to carry excessive amounts of armor, having it fill up their weight limit.
Yeah, one guy was shown to have a weight of 812 just because a chess piece constantly duplicated in his inventory.
So I'm gonna say something to Bethesda that probably hasn't been said to them yet. Bethesda, you're done goofed. You're just done goofed.
Now, I think everybody's done telling them they're done goofed.
Yeah.
And there's no gaffes in this goof either.
No, there's no gaff in the goof.
This part was just the accidents. Let's get to the on-purpose stuff.
Oh.
So, in order to make the beginning of the game less punishing, Bethesda has decided to have some achievements in the game reward med packs and stim packs and things like that. Unfortunately, these used to reward atoms, the premium currency for the game that you used to be able to earn for free by completing these achievements. So Bethesda has now removed a way to earn atoms for free. Now, there are, of course, still some achievements to award it, but anyone starting the game now will be able to earn fewer atoms for free. Mm-hmm. This also coincides with them adding some fun new things to the Atom Shop. So, before release, the creators of Fallout 76 said there would be no pay-to-win or non-cosmetic elements in the Atom Shop. Everything would be a cosmetic skin. That's not a thing anymore. So now in the Atom Store, there are repair kits that allow you to instantly repair an armor or weapon piece. There are greenhouses that you have to buy in an Atom pack that allow you to grow food faster. There's also now an item with the ability to transport scrap immediately from your inventory to your stash at your home base. That's also part of the Atom Shop. And I'm sure it's just a huge coincidence that all these things were added as they've removed way to earn atoms for free. Complete coincidence.
So, how do you screw up this bad?
You are...
Their defense is that they're making a game that is broken upon launch that they will constantly add patches and updates to until the game is perfect. Like, imagine somebody bringing in nothing more than a chassis with 4 wheels on it and saying, give us about 2 or 3 years and we'll turn this into a Lamborghini for you.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you buy a car and it immediately explodes, and then the dealer says, you know what? We'll repair this for you over the next few months to a year.
And you have to pay for each part that gets added to this car.
No, they say, you know what? The only thing you'll need to pay for is the cosmetics, the paint, what the seats have on them. But then they decide, you know what? No. You also have to pay for the AC and, brakes, things like that.
But the thing is that they had literally one job. Okay?
Yeah.
One job. This is in what they do, right? Make a game. Okay? Make a game that not only works, but is good, okay? Well, that's like extra, but you just have to make a game that functionally works.
You see, the problem is that Bethesda doesn't really have a team that focuses on finding the bugs, really. That's why their Fallout games are known to have so many bugs and everything. They don't really invest in that particular team, which...
They don't treat QA with respect.
Yep, and that kind of a department is very important if you're running an online game where bugs could just pop up out of nowhere without you even knowing how it showed up. Now, that's our rant for 76.
Wait, hang on. One job.
One job.
That was it.
One job.
One job.
One job.
And you couldn't even step up to the plate and swing the bat. You know what?
You screwed up.
Yeah, not only could they not swing the bat, as they're leaving the field, they trip over themselves, break their leg. As they're leaving the stadium, they get hit by a car.
And a comet comes down.
So you patch the game. You screwed up.
Yeah.
Screwed up. Now, let's talk about some interesting news. Today marks the 50th anniversary of the Apollo 11 mission to the moon's 50th. This marks the 50th anniversary of the moon landing, where the Apollo 11 completed its mission to make it to the moon and back.
Mm-hmm. On this day in 1969, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin became the first humans to walk on the moon, with fellow astronaut Michael Collins orbiting in the command module Columbia.
It's important that we mention that guy.
You know what? Yeah, he didn't get to walk on the moon, but he was still a part of the mission. He still
got closer to the moon than anybody in the general population will ever get closer.
Yes.
Yeah, he still flew to the moon.
And he's still part of the mission. He did his job. He's part of the crew.
Now, it's not necessarily pop culture related. We wanted to bring it up because the whole thing that it's a very remarkable feat in scientific history.
Yep.
But since it is a pop culture show, why don't you explain to people about the moon being haunted, supposedly?
Okay, so this is going to be dumb. I'm just going to warn you now. But it's Destiny dumb, so of course I know all about it. So,
are you an avid Destiny player?
I play it every day. It's my...
One of our main segments is Brian going on a rant about the latest thing Destiny messed up.
It's been a while since we've done that.
So is it like a love-hate relationship with you in Destiny? Or is it
I love it when it loves me.
So anyways, on to the moon being haunted.
So the next expansion for Destiny Shadowkeep coming in September is taking players back to the moon from Destiny 1. Except this time, there's a giant hive fortress in it. Because we just sort of ignored the moon for 3 years, and now the Hive have taken over again. Because that's why you don't ignore the moon, especially when there is the fortress and the corpse of a god that you killed there. You don't just leave that lying around. Anyway, this has led to several memes about the moon being haunted, starting from a Twitter joke that showed, and then being adapted into a short comic showing a Guardian coming back and getting a gun saying "moon's haunted" before returning to the moon.
Now, I think this is funny because didn't NASA recently make an announcement regarding the moon, which
they did not. That turned out to be a hoax. But what happened to start that hoax off was NASA announced that there was a previously undiscovered underground pocket in the moon in the exact same area as the Hellmouth in Destiny, which is this giant underground fortress. Which, of course, led Destiny players to declare the moon to be haunted.
I'm sorry.
Thank you, Destiny players, for making my day a little bit brighter.
It's always refreshing to hear. Always refreshing to hear.
So,
So
now we need to talk about something that happened this Thursday.
Yes.
I'll let you cover it, Brian.
Yeah. This Thursday, Japanese animation studio Kyoto Animation was the victim of an arsonist attack. The fire and subsequent explosion took the lives of 33 employees and injured even more. We don't have a full number yet. Kyoto Animation was well known for its impressive body and work, including Violet Evergarden, K-On!, The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, Nichijou, and many others. They were also known as an outlier in the Japanese animation industry for having salary animators as opposed to using contractors that are paid per frame, the high number of women hired and promoted to key positions, and offering benefits like maternity leave, all while maintaining a shockingly high quality across their works that puts other animation studios to shame, frankly. Kyoto Animation's American distributor Sentai Filmworks has set up a GoFundMe to raise money for the studio. Of course, our thoughts and prayers go out to the victims of this heinous attack. And it's hard to come up with things to say about this.
Yeah.
Because what can be said that would make anything better, that would make anything easier to understand? Because when things like this happen, it's almost impossible to fathom how.
And we don't really have too much information about the arsonist.
Honestly, he doesn't deserve being mentioned. He doesn't deserve being explained. He doesn't deserve his name or his reasoning being out there.
Other than this heinous attack, and he's the proprietor of this heinous attack. We'll leave it at that. And this is just it's a sad time.
Yeah, there's no excuse for what this person has done. There's no
people with families, have to pay the price for his actions.
All that I could really say is that my thoughts and prayers go out to the victims of this fire and the lives that we had lost. And I can only hope that those who had survived the incident will be able to find a way to recover from this incident.
If you want to give to the GoFundMe, it's called Help Heal Kyo Annie. For Kyoto Animation, it's on GoFundMe.
Yeah.
Anything you can give them would be generous because a little goes a long ways, right?
Right. Now, with that being said, we have reached the end of today's episode of the Phone Booth. Again, we will try and return on Sunday to cover even more of Comic-Con as it happens. My name is Ed Heitman. Joining me as always is my good friend and co-host Brian Rodriguez.
Bye.
As well as our handy-dandy board op, Parker Spurlin. Be sure to tune in every Saturday from 1 to 2 here on the Voice of San Joaquin, where we cover all things pop culture related. Now, with that being said, have yourself